So the reason I chose history is because it's such a versatile subject. Like you honestly learn so much from it, not only from, of course, from the historical background of it and the actual content, but also the skills. So you learn how to write properly, you learn how to analyze what people say, you learn how to agree and disagree with something, and it may challenge your views, which is a good thing because then you have to do more and think about, you know, what's going on, why should I agree with this, why should I not, and it's such a good subject. Even if you want to do it at uni as well, it's a great subject.
I agree with Andre. A lot of people think that history is a useless subject. Like, why would you want to study the past? Like, what's done is done, right? But that's not a very good way of thinking about it, I'd like to say, because not only does it teach you a ton of different like skills that Andre did mention, but also like critical thinking. Because for example, you're given, like, you're supposed to analyze and incorporate a ton of different skills that it's not just writing an essay, for example. Like, you're actually supposed to make sense out of, you know, what's happened. And
I think one more thing I'd like to mention is that it's a facilitating subject,
Yeah.
and it looks really good on university applications. But anything you're applying, it can be sciences, it can be law. I'm applying to law and I'm doing history, and it's really useful in terms of the skills it provides. And I also really like that in history, the history department is very supportive, and they ensure that you progress through the year. And like, I can see that in myself, that I've developed my skills and like refined them over the year, and I think I really appreciate that. That's the one thing I really love about history.
When you start year 12, just make sure you take a progressive approach to it. So it may be heartbreaking just getting a lower grade than you were expecting in your first mock, for example, but what I'd say is just try to get 1% better each time. So every time you have an assessment, don't look at it as a negative. Just look at it in terms of, how am I going to get one more mark? How am I going to get one more thing that I've done well? And before you know it, by when you start year 13, you're gonna have improved so much. And
I think keeping up with notes from the very beginning is essential. Just having your notes ready for history, because there's a lot of content, of course, like any other A-level subject. Just keeping up with the notes that you make, I think that's the biggest advantage that you'll have when you actually get to exams. That way, when you get to exams, you're actually spending your time on active recall and revision rather than, you know, making notes from the textbook.
And I guess a tip with the stuff that Andre and Cyrus has mentioned is that you should actually try to sort of connect what's actually happening like throughout the course. Don't just think of history as this event, this cause, this is what happened, it led to this. You're supposed to like sort of make connections throughout the course. So really try to understand the content rather than just memorizing it and knowing what happened, because that won't be enough.